On our own, we have purpose. Everywhere around us is pressure, and it never, ever stops. We need help. We need to reach out to others. We need to reach out to family. We need to reach out to opportunities and services and organizations to help fight the pressure to stay on purpose. That's what this show is about. Ray Borell, next. And the heat is on. Let's get cooking. This is Purpose Under Pressure. It's brought to you by the Ruby Group, Sandler Sales Training, serving sales professionals nationwide from their Akron and Columbus, Ohio locations. They are one of the, and I don't mean top 10, I mean one of the highest performing Sandler Sales Training affiliates in the nation. And there's a reason for that. They will make a difference for you and your team. You should check them out online at therubygroup.sandler.com. On the show today, the Director of Operations for Dutch Creek Foods in Sugar Creek, Ohio. You're wondering what that is? You'll recognize the brand at Der Dutchman restaurants. And whenever I think of that, I think of chicken and mashed potatoes, and it's just so good. So he's also a team coaching and development ambassador with Lodestar Guidance, which is a monthly character-based leadership training program looking to empower employees to live and lead effectively around these parts. We call that on purpose. Welcome, Ray Borell, to Purpose Under Pressure.
Well, hi, Brian. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited to get into this with you. I've been watching you now on YouTube for a little while now, thanks to Jordan.
So you're the one that's watching. I knew
it's
someone.
Just awesome to be here, so thank you.
That was you. All right. We finally know that. I'm just kidding. That's cool. Thank you very much. And Jordan, you talk about Jordan Mullet, also from Sandler Training. You and I got together. We have that mutual acquaintance, and that's pretty cool because he's a legend. Good dude. And he's been on the show as well in the past. So
yeah, he's a terrific guy. I love him. Yep.
Ray, this is about pressure. And when we got together, you talked to me a lot about, not about pressure, about purpose. Talked to me a lot about things we're trying to do in our lives and things we're trying to do to better others and better ourselves. What's your purpose? Let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Brian. For me, I recognized a long time ago that I think that helping others, serving others is something that I'm passionate about. I think that a desire, it burns inside you. When there's something that you like to do, something that you get into, you can just feel it inside. And helping other people, something that I've always had a desire to do, and leading teams. And I recognized that early on in my career. And I started out sweeping floors, and now I'm leading people, and it gives me that platform, that opportunity to do that, and I really enjoy doing it, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I do what I do.
Tell me about that. Tell me about starting sweeping floors and to where you are now. Was that all on purpose? Was that part of the plan?
Well, getting a job was on purpose. I started out, honestly, on a pretty rough path, as most of us do. Not all of us are born with a silver spoon in our mouth. My mom abandoned me when I was about 5 years of age. My dad was an alcoholic. By 7th, 8th grade, I was smoking cigarettes and drinking beer. And, I knew that I had no business smoking cigarettes and drinking beer, but I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have any direction. By the time I got to high school, I was doing drugs. And, I thought, I didn't need school. I didn't need anybody telling me what to do. And unfortunately, I dropped out of school. I hit rock bottom at that point, and I was about 20 years old. And I remember getting on my knees and praying to God and asking him for a sign. And it wasn't too much longer. It was actually that summer, maybe about a month and a half later, I met my soon-to-be wife. And she really was the reason, I think, that really turned my life around. And, I get emotional a lot of times when I think about that. And sometimes it's hard to share that story, but I believe that it was a divine intervention. We're still together almost 30 years. We got 2 beautiful children, and it really put me on that course to change my life. It gave me a reason. It gave me a why to do something. And, throughout that period, I went back to school. I got my diploma. I put myself through college, but I had to start out in a very low position. My skill set was very minimal at the time. I got a job. sweeping floors, and I worked my way up, and I started reading books. And, fortunately for me, I had a couple good mentors in my first job, and I ended up working there for 20 years. And I climbed the ladder and had the opportunity to leave there as a manager. And from there, I was able to join the Dutchman Hospitality Group and lead a fabulous team. We've got an incredible president now that's running our company. And, he is in alignment very much so with the morals and the values that I stand for as well. And the company itself truly is. It's still a family-owned and operated business, and caring about people, customers. I mean, hospitality is everything. And it's just as important to care about our employees as well. And now that I have that opportunity leading people, I take every opportunity that I can to teach and educate them as well. And that's kind of where Lodestar Guidance came in. I had an opportunity in 2018 to meet Paul Weaver. And since then, we've become good friends. He is the founder of Lodestar Guidance. He was the CEO, owner of Weaver Leather. And, since then, I've really just tried to do everything I can to help people get better. And Lodestar Guidance helps me to do that.
So why is that? So you were at rock bottom. You were crumbling under the pressure.
Yeah.
You found some purpose in someone who loved you, and you wanted to give back. How did that manifest itself so that now you want to help others accomplish great things as well and be great leaders? What was the switch there?
Well, I think that it was the desire to provide. I knew what I didn't have. I think sometimes in life, I heard a story one time, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but this story, this reporter interviewed these two gentlemen, and one was very successful. They were twin brothers, actually. One was very successful and had been married for 20 years, and he had beautiful, healthy children. He had a very good career. His twin brother, he was, an alcoholic, divorced several times, bankrupt. It just in a very, very unfortunate situation, and this reporter said, well, wow, how did you guys get here? And they both had the same reply. And they said that, it's by watching my dad, so, I love, even to this day, my mom has passed away. I never had the opportunity to have a relationship with her, but, God puts people in your lives for certain situations. And even though they may to you feel as if, it doesn't make sense and you just don't understand why you're in the situation that you're in, there's a reason for that. And I truly believe my faith guides me and directs me. And, I have a strong relationship with my Heavenly Father. And I know there is not a doubt in my mind that God isn't real, and He works in our lives each and every day. And sometimes those answers don't come soon enough. But if you have faith and you walk by faith, those answers come in time.
And so I'm wondering about Lodestar. Do you see that as you helping to use it to fulfill others' purpose? Or do you see it as a way to help you fulfill your purpose? Or are you just trying to get Lodestar out into as many people as they can so that they can do with it what you will? What is your purpose now with Lodestar?
Yeah, that's a good question, Brian. I think that all the above. I think that organizations right now are struggling. I know, for myself and other business owners, whether you're an entrepreneur, an intrapreneur, you own a business or you work for a business, we've seen. I think it was magnified during COVID, and since it's just been a very challenging atmosphere, primarily in hospitality, but in all sectors. Staffing is a really big challenge, and but here's the one thing:
you can't control anything other than what you do.
You can't control
right?
everything, right? In business, a lot of times you hear. Yeah. In business, a lot of times you hear a lot of buzzwords, right? Like control the controllables. We don't have control over who the president's going to be. We don't have control over who, if taxes go up or go down. We don't have control over a lot of these things. So we need to control what we can. And culture is one of those things that we have to be intentional about, and we have to be deliberate about. And we can do that. We can do that with our leadership, and then we have to, communicate that to our team members, that's, boots on the ground, our supervisors, get all the way down to, every employee. And we can do that. We can do that with, deliberate, intentional work. And it does take work. I would be lying to you if I said that it didn't take work, but I'm telling you that the benefits and the rewards from it are just, it would not make sense for a business to not take the time to invest in their people and invest in their culture.
I'm interested. What's more important, the culture of the business down so that the employees understand what they're all about and can participate in the future of the business? Or is the culture of the business defined by the employees up so that the culture of the employees define what the business actually does? I imagine Lodestar works on both different places, but where do we think the biggest impact can come?
Definitely top down. I think that here's what's going to happen. If you don't take deliberate, intentional steps to create that culture, it's going to create itself. It's like a cancer that spreads. If you don't have control and you're not deliberate and you're not intentional, like I said, the culture is going to create, and that's why you have to be deliberate in your interviewing process. You have to be deliberate and intentional with the team members that you bring on, but here's the thing, there are some, this is why I love Lodestar so much. There's 48 principles, and taking the time to invest in your people, because frankly, some of us, I didn't have those principles. I didn't have those values navigating me at an early age. I had to be taught those things. Some people have more than others, but at the end of the day, when you have an organization and you're willing to invest in your people, and you share with them, you mentor with them, you recognize the areas that they're strong in, and you help guide them along in the areas that they're not, and you communicate with them, you build them up, and you create that culture that you're looking for. It's very difficult for small business owners a lot of times that, when you have a small business, you have a lot of control over what's going on. A lot of times you're there, you're invested in it, you're with the team, and you do initially create that culture, right? But what happens a lot of times is, when you want to walk away from that, you want to make sure that culture is going to remain, and how do you do that? Well, Lodestar Guidance can help you to do that, and there's other, this isn't a sell on Lodestar. There are other, great, things that can do that as well. But, I'm just saying specifically, I know Lodestar works. I teach it and I share that with as many people as I can.
What are the pressures then that come on a company? A company is growing and hiring and moving forward and doing things on purpose for the right reasons, and instills this culture, and everybody's on board. Mm-hmm. Pressures come. COVID comes, a recession comes, opportunity comes that some businesses just like, yeah, I'll take that, right? Mm-hmm. What are the pressures that can impact the organization that then impacts the employees? Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, some of the things that I said, earlier, when it comes to the things that we can't control, they do have an impact on us. Sometimes storms come, right? It's like,
I'm thinking like Enron. Enron wasn't always a bad company, but somewhere along the line, it got off track, and all the employees then were left holding the bag, right?
Right. Yeah. But I would say that there were unethical practices that took place. That's why you have to have a strong leadership team from the get-go. You have to be united, in your mission, and communication is key to that. And having a tight-knit community. And that's what culture is, right? It's a tight knit community, whether it doesn't matter who you are within the organization, right? You're a community together, you're a culture together, and you cultivate that by communication each and every day. And there are going to be outside pressures, with inflation, with so many different things that you don't really have control over. But what you do have control over, like I said earlier, is our culture and that communication. And it comes, I believe, from the top down.
Yeah. And you had mentioned about, I think you said, am I right, 48 different steps, principles. So a principle is a law, and it's the way it goes. But we humans like to rank things. If there were one or two of those principles that were just the other, like almost like the 10 Commandments. I think George Carlin said, there's two. The rest of them, are there one or two that really guide that if a business is out there going, I want to know what the two things that are that I can do to instill a better culture in my organization or better leadership in my people? What would those be?
Say on the rule, only decision makers can get other people to make decisions. Each and every day, we have a decision to make. Also, when we're with buyers in our sales process, we have a decision to make how we're going to lead that interaction. And if I'm somebody that can make daily commitments and keep those daily commitments, then when I'm with buyers, I expect them to make commitments and keep those commitments to me throughout that sales process. So first and foremost, I have to have a decided heart in order to lead other people to make the decisions that I'm expecting them to make.
Are there one or two that really guide that if a business is out there going, I want to know what the two things that are that I can do to instill a better culture in my organization or better leadership in my people? What would those be? Tell me more. Extreme ownership, right? Is the book I read? Yep.
Extreme ownership. Yeah, absolutely. I hope our president gets to see this because, it's funny that we're even talking about this right now. Just about a month ago, we had a meeting and he shared with us, the topic of extreme ownership. But it's absolutely essential, and you have to build that. If you have children, right, you understand the enormous responsibility that comes from having children, and also the responsibility in rearing them in the right way and helping them to understand ownership. I mean, everything in life comes down to it. You have to take responsibility for yourself, and that's where ownership comes in. It's biblical, and at the end of the day, if there's one principle that stands out to me, it stands out within, for each individual and as well as the organization, it's going to be ownership. Yeah.
And define ownership for me. I want to make sure that people understand what we're talking about. When it comes to ownership, it's not that I have to do what the company says, or is it? What defines ownership at the employee level of an organization?
Yeah, ownership, it's everything. It's your integrity. It's what you say. It's what you do. Being responsible for yourself. If you win, you accept responsibility for winning. If you lose, you have to put it on yourself. It's just part of taking ownership. It encompasses everything about what is you.
And can I take ownership at any level? So you swept floors. You're now the director of operations at Dutch Creek Foods. Can I take ownership all the way across the line, or is there certain things that, look, that's his responsibility, that's not for me? How do I take ownership as when I'm sweeping the floors?
You have to take ownership for everything. You take ownership the moment your feet hit the floor when you get out of bed. It's you make these decisions in life, and every decision, every choice that you make has an outcome. And taking ownership, I mean, we can pass the buck and we can blame the outside world for why things happen, but at the end of the day, it's up to us. It's up to us to, it doesn't matter, when we started out talking, I'm sitting here and I'm telling you my story about, poor, pitiful me. And, this is what happened to me. Well, you know what? There's a lot worse things that happen to other people. And I recognized that too when I got older, and my wife and I got together, and she was a sounding board for me, and we talked, and And that's really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It does not matter, Brian, what happens to you. What matters is what you're going to do about it. And that's what ownership is all about. I can sit here, I can go crawl in the corner, and I can blame the outside world for everything that has happened in my life and not take responsibility, not take accountability for it, but it's not going to get me anywhere. So, yes, bad things happen. Bad things happen to everybody. And it's up to us to make the decision to make the future brighter. And we do that by the decisions we make, the choices we make. And the only way that happens is by taking ownership.
But what happens when the storm comes, though? So here's the pressure. So I'm sweeping the floors and I'm doing my best, but then the bills need paid, or I get sued for some reason, or a health issue comes. And all of a sudden, am I thinking about shortcuts? Am I thinking about getting home a little early to take care of things? Am I thinking about taking care of whatever I've got to take care of personally? And I leave the ownership part of work behind. Is my purpose as a on-purpose ownership employee to take care of myself, or is it to take care of the company? And how do those two go together?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good question. I think at the end of the day, you have to be responsible for yourself. You have to take accountability for yourself, but you also have to recognize that those same pressures that you're facing, everyone else is facing. And the moment that you recognize that and you realize that, you're going to have more of a servant heart, a servant attitude, and you're going to focus on others. When you focus on others, it takes a lot of that pressure off of yourself, because you know that we're all in the same boat, when we're all facing the same struggles together, and we work towards helping one another out. And I think that, look, it's going to rain, storms come, days follow nights, though, right? When you go through a wintertime, and you can be rest assured that springtime's going to follow. So when we're going through hard times, I had to talk to my son.
High school's
my son
hard.
Going through high school,
especially nowadays. Holy cow!
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough for absolutely, Brian. I mean, kids today, I can't even imagine the pressures that they face, in middle school and high school with social media. And, depression is at an all-time high. And, the truth is, these hard times come, but if you can give them some hope and you give them some faith, it's going to pass. All things do. And, when we go through these storms in our lives, when we have these dark nights, having a little bit of faith, and that's where we as people, as a community, can help one another, and part of that all circles back around the culture. When we're having hard times and we have fellow team members that are having hard times, we need to be there for one another, and that's the only way that we're going to get through the storms, is to reassure one another, to give each other hope, to let each other know that there's a better day ahead. And we can do that. And, having a good culture is going to help lead to that as well.
And these are the things that Lodestar kind of preaches. And I'm interested in your relationship with Lodestar. Do you train others? Do you use this at Dutch Creek for the employees that you manage? How do you use Lodestar in your daily life? And how can others use you to access Lodestar? How does that work?
Yeah, well, being a part of Lodestar now for the last 3 years, it's kind of in my DNA now, right? I practice it as much as I can, and no, I'm not perfect, right? None of us are, and I fall, and we do, but it's not about that. It's about getting back up. It's about recognizing your own errors and judgment at times, and just working on being a better person today than I was yesterday. And what can I do today to improve the lives of others? And Lodestar Guidance helps to do that. We've helped more than 100 different companies and organizations in more than 9 states. Our sales last year increased by 50%. So we know that there's a need for that. I think that, in the United States today, what we need is a cultural revolution. And it starts with the individual, building a strong foundation, and then leading and helping raise your family with that same strong foundation. And then you can build that out, right? And then you can help your neighbors, and you can help your community, and then you help your states, and then you help your country. And Lodestar Guidance helps us to do that, whether it's at home, whether it's in business, whether it's in church. They're they're principles, right? And, principles are truths, and they're values that help guide us, and navigate us through life.
If someone wants to learn more about Lodestar through you, how would they reach out to you or talk to you about this at all?
Yeah. You can go to lodestarguidance.com, or you can call me personally on my cell phone. It is 330-323-4059, or you can find me on LinkedIn at Raymond Borell at LinkedIn.
Ray, one of the things I love about doing this show, and I didn't anticipate this when I created it, but I learned so much. And the thing I'm learning again and again and again is that this whole purpose under pressure thing, pressure never takes a break. It's constantly beating down on you. And here's what I've learned. And you said it today, and I'm going to repeat it. You can't battle pressure on your own. When you do, it knocks you down. I don't care how strong you are. No. I'm learning that. I think I always thought I was Superman, Iron Man, nothing. Just keep going. But you know what? You can't. You need your wife, or you need your family, or you need your community, or in this case, you might need Lodestar, like a professional service to help you through. But life, man, it just keeps coming like the midday sun.
Right.
And unless you reach out and ask for help or rely on someone, you're going to be in trouble. And the purpose has to live out. And so it's important, whether it's Lodestar, whether it's your family, whether it's your pastor, whether it's your boss, whether it's your son or daughter, talk to someone and say, how do we overcome this together, right?
That's right. Yeah, we have to be here for one another. We're not an island, and God never intended us to be one. We're here as an extension of one another. We're all connected in some way, and it's selfish to think otherwise. I mean, we have to be here for one another, and having principles and values will help to guide us. Early on in my career, if it wasn't for the mentors, who knows where I would be today? It was other people that surrounded me, from my wife and from, mentors in my life, that came around, surrounded me, helped lift me up, gave me hope, gave me a reason, gave me a why to get up each and every day, and then it starts to compound. Then you start to have children, then you start to have a few wins here and there. And then it gives you more and more encouragement to want to work harder and to want to be better. And I know that where I am in my life today, I know that it's possible for other people, and it's my life's mission to help other people that are struggling, to help other people that may just need a little hope, like you were just saying a little bit ago. And if I have that opportunity, I'm going to take every opportunity I have to do that.
Inspirational. Thank you, Ray Borell with Dutch Creek Foods and with Lodestar. And thank you for sharing your story and your vulnerability and helping people to realize that they can overcome these pressures too. So thank you for being a guest. So this is Purpose Under Pressure. Thank you, Ray Borell, Dutch Creek Foods and Lodestar Guidance. Our guest on Purpose Under Pressure. This show is brought to you by the Ruby Group, Sandler Sales Training. I say it a lot, and it's because I'm just so proud that they're part of this. They get it. And folks, if your business needs help with Lodestar and management and leadership, even sales training, reach out to someone. And if Sandler Sales Training and the Ruby Group happen to be those folks, go ahead and do it. They help you succeed on purpose. You will find all past episodes of Purpose Under Pressure at brianmediastrategies.com/podcast and wherever you stream your podcasts. We do this every week, and we will see you next time, and we will see you next time on Purpose.